Hello, dear students. Very warm welcome to Dr. Zia Ahmed YouTube channel. Today we shall be discussing another topic of translation studies, and that is pedagogy and translation. What happens when translation is involved in teaching pedagogies? That's what we are discovering today. Let us see how we can talk more about this. Language learning and teaching has become significantly important with respect to translation because when we use translation text provide authentic materials. The teacher needs to bring some authentic material other than the prescribed or textual material. Translated studies or translated material can become very good authentic material because in that way they are exposed to two languages, and when they are exposed to two languages they can feel a type of comparative analysis also, and because of this comparative analysis they learn more. Same would be the case with respect to vocabulary building. When they read the translated thing and the source language, target language, they are able to grasp the synonyms, the antonyms, and the contextual usage of these things. So in that way, translation in pedagogical methodology or teaching methodology become very important and very significant. Same is the case with the bilingual education because when we use translated material in order to teach our people at that time, what we are doing in fact, we are giving the contents in two languages. And when the content is in two languages, the student will be able to support himself as a bilingual learner. Same would be the case with cultural inclusivity. When source language is used, it has a different culture, and the targeted language into which the source language is translated, it would have another type of culture. So that is why cultural diversity plus inclusivity will be available to our students. So that is why this is very good way to include translated texts or materials into the teaching methodologies and classroom working. Same would be the case with cognitive development. Our minds work very well, then they face the challenges. So, when translation is there, at that time the student is required to go through task based education also and become critical thinker, because when he will be provided with these two types of text, one in one language, other in the other language, possibilities that he would be able to compare that, and as a result the question would arise whether it is right or wrong, whether how much it is useful or not. In that way he will be able to develop critical thinking and problem solving skills as well. Same would be the case with cognitive flexibility. When the students are engaged with multiple languages, at that time their cognitive flexibility enhances, which improves their academic performance also. Taking in the same tone, we can see that we need for this purpose very much trained type of translators, because in these pedagogical methods it is essential that the translator should be a professional one. He may be able to have an equal grasp of the theory as well as that of the practical skills. If he possesses that, only then he can a perfect translator, and this translation can be beneficial. And as a result, our curriculum may be developed with respect to that we may be providing in our teaching methodologies the kind of comprehensive training in linguistic, cultural, and technical aspects. If these things are available to us, definitely we can proceed further in the use of these translated text in the classroom in order to enhance our capabilities. Here lies another thing. When we involve the students in the task based learning and collaborative learning, when the task is provided to the student by the teacher that one resource material is available, that material should be translated into another one. This would prove a practical side. So, not only the student would learn theoretically but also practically. Then, when the students are given the task collectively, in the sake of groups, they are learning how they would learn their language and other skills and lessons through collaborative learning. So, collaborative peer feedback and fostering deeper understanding of both languages is involved into it. So, that is why, again, we should say that translated text and use of this translation in pedagogies can prove very useful for all type of our students. Now, if you see that when we are assessing the things done by the student through translation, that involves that we should see how the basic things are coming up, how the rubrics are coming up, and what kind of assessment criteria should be given to these students whether they have translated from word to word, or they have used idiomatic, or they have used communicative approach. Accordingly, we may be getting the feedback as well. This will provide a formative feedback, that feedback which will help the students improve their translation skills further, but stage by stage, incrementally. So in this way, translation can be very helpful when it is used in the teaching methodologies. Now the age of technology is there. We are all living in 21st century. There are certain softwares which have been developed in order to deal with the long, huge, heavy and industry type of translation. One of them is computer assisted translation tool called as CAT. This CAT room, when it is used in the classroom, it teaches the students what are the industry standards for the sake of translation. Similarly, we have many other tools also which are called online sources. These online sources are like dictionaries, glossaries, and translation forums. They also help the students in order to learn more and learn it effectively. So that is why translation, translated studies, or translated kind of pieces of literature, language, authentic material, it will be proving good to use in the classroom strategy teaching. And then there should be some kind of cultural competence. Not only we will be able to develop cultural competence among the students when we involve them in the studies of the culture of the source language and then the target language, but also the cultural competence would develop among the people. The teacher therefore should be culturally competent also when he is providing translated tests. Of course, we can also deal with this thing with regard to ethnographic approach. For example, we may have certain native speakers and they may have their own cultural aspects visible through their artifacts. And when we translate their things, we will be acquainting and informing our students with respect to their cultural insights also. In that way, cultural competence will also be developed among the students who are going through the translation studies, pedagogies. We therefore need to develop a type of integrated curriculum, because when we use translation materials, it's not simply for English, it's not simply for history, it may be for science also, it may be for any other discipline. So a type of interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary projects will have to be started, and it will be very useful because not only the student will learn the target subject but also other subjects. So in this way, integrated curriculums can be developed for this purpose. Same would be the case with real world tasks. For example, when we simulate in the translation task, such as translating business documents, literary text, or technical manuals, we are definitely providing the students with the real world task. So that is why they will learn more about the real world capabilities, proficiencies, and what is happening in the real world. So in that way, not only theoretical portion will be covered, but also the practical portion of the subject. But we do have some of the challenges, of course. Nothing is without the challenges. Number one thing will be maintaining of the accuracy can be a biggest issue, because all the people are not that good translators. All the people are not well versed and skilled in the expertise of translation. So that is why there could be certain errors as well. So accuracy most of the time will be a problem, especially in the context of the culture. We may not be able to keep the balance between theory and the practice, although in a class theory is more, practice is little. But sometime when we give task-based education, at that time the practice becomes more, theory becomes little. It will be therefore difficult to maintain a kind of balance between the two. We can have language proficiency issues as well. The levels of proficiency within a classroom to ensure all students can benefit from translation tasks is really very difficult. So that is why all these are the basic challenges that possibly we can have when we are teaching the classes with the help of the translation studies. We may conclude in the end that the integration of translation in pedagogy enriches the educational experience, providing students with valuable linguistic and cultural skills. So that would be really very helpful in that way, culturally, linguistically. And effective pedagogical strategies, if these are developed, if effective pedagogical strategies are developed in translation studies, it will prepare the students not only for their professional careers but also to enhance their cognitive and cultural competencies. In that way, they will be contributing more into the inclusive and multilingual society. So, therefore, it is the final idea that the translation studies, translated articles, or translated materials should be included in our teaching strategies, because that can help us, our students, in a number of ways. So thank you for watching. This is all for today. Hope to see you in some next video. If you like it, if you get some understanding out of that, do not fail to hit the subscribe and the like button as well. Thank you so far. See you in some next video.